Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Alpha 4.0.2 is now available to all backers on the PTU. There's that new supply or die event in there, but also we've got Fight for Pyro Phase 3 in the current live build. We've got Coramor on now. We've got the Super Hornet Mark IIs out, as well as a Heartseeker kit for the Hornet Mark IIs. There is tons going on both in the current live build of 4.0.1 and 4.0.2 on the PTU. So let's jump in and talk about the current live build. Fight for Pyro Phase 3 is now live. Even though there were rewards given for the first two phases, and it looked like it was actually ending there, that's not the case. There is a third phase. It's against these slicers. There's a couple of missions available. You don't need to complete chains of them or anything. You eliminate the Frontier Fighter holdouts or destroy some Frontier Fighter ships. These are slicers pretending to be the Frontier Fighters, or at least that was their plan. These aren't tied to any special reward, just some more narrative to get involved with, and it will help evolve the narrative going forward, and some more of those interesting missions. You can still jump into Phase 1 and 2 of the Fight for Pyro missions until 4.0.2 launches to live as well. So if you haven't earned that Ripper SMG or those skins for the factions, there is still the potential for you to do that. The Super Hornet Mark II is now available in the current live build as well. We've got the two-seater version of the Hornet Mark II with a powerful military style loadout. It's available on the RSI website for $220 to $240. Comes with better shields, a more powerful front nose turret. Also, the Heartseeker kit is available to buy and apply to any Hornet Mark II, giving it a bespoke Gatling center ball turret and that pin-up style decal skin. So yeah, applicable to all the Hornet Mark IIs now. Just a quick little public service announcement, PSA. The central modules and ball turrets are interchangeable on all Hornets of the same mark, so 1 or 2, and the Mark II nose turrets, only the F7A and Super Hornets can use the bigger military mount of those Mark IIs. So the other Mark IIs have to use the civilian version, which you can purchase in in-game shops if you want to mount nose weapons, and you probably will. Why wouldn't you? I've got a video looking into the Super Hornet Mark II in a bit more detail. Go check that out if you are interested. That Heartseeker, though, is part of the Coramor 2955 Valentine's event. There's more going on with this. There's a load of ships and vehicles on sale, 25 in fact, available as part of that, and vibrant pink liveries for sale as well. So if you want some Valentine's Day skins, you can check those out. Ships-wise, we've got the Areses, the Arrow, Cyclone Buggies, Hornet Mark IIs, Hoverquad, Mole, MPUVs, Nomad, Raft, Rocks, the SRV, Scorpiuses, and Zeus Mark IIs. Ship-wise, you'll be able to get all of those in-game if you can't already. Also, the Super Hornet Mark II should be available in-game and in-game shops in around 3 months. Obviously, it's flyable now if you buy it, but yeah, if you wait 3 months, you should be able to buy it in in-game shops. That's actually one of the bonuses probably of doing monthly patches from CIG as well. They can more readily put in those ships after a 3-month period rather than waiting even longer for the next major patch. Some other bits and bobs that are available. There's some pink FPS armor sets, the Arden SL Coramor editions, so sort of pink and white or pink and black. Also, there's a Nomad starter pack with game package, Coramor skin, and FPS armor. There is the Duo Arena Commander Showdown mode, 2v2 dogfighting, that you can jump into. You can earn a special Valentine's Spectrum badge. There's a community contest with comic strip screenshots of how to not get a date, potentially winning you some ships. CIG also performed some additional server maintenance earlier today on the live servers, which appears to have been successfully completed. Let's take a look at Alpha 4.0.2. So this is now available to all backers on the PTU, and this latest patch that they released expands out the previous EVOCATI patch with some additional updates and optimizations optimizations. Nighttime brightness on planets has had a polish pass. Bio streaming performance has had some optimizations. There's been an optimization pass on Pyro outposts. They've greatly increased the distortion fall-off times for size 4 power plants on the Polaris Reclaimer and 890 jump. The Misk Starfarer, they've moved the MFDs down to avoid intersecting with advanced HUDs. There's been a thruster audio gold pass for the Arrow, Lightning and Cutlass ships. The FSR upscaler option is currently missing in options when using DirectX 11. That's going to be fixed in the next build, CIG said. There are some other known issues, some of which are blockers. Blockers typically mean they won't push anything out to live until they've solved. Currently we have elevators are present, but panels stop functioning. There's a load of logging in this current build as well to help with that issue. As such, you might notice some other knock-on problems or some performance issues. Sometimes that's just an I reckon. Other blockers. Transit in some landing zones has no collision, causing players to fall through the transit floor. PvP missions not working. Boxes are not spawning during courier missions. Coramor repair contracts in Mobiglass become hidden when another player enters the mission location. Copion-related missions are not displaying in contracts. And moving down to critical fixes, which aren't as important as blocker, but are typically pretty important still. Quantum travel nav markers can become invisible. That's pretty important to me. With the Starfarers, payments can't be accepted to begin the refueling process. Party members don't appear on the star map or area map. Missions stop progressing after landing in hangar. Storing items from player to the storage access interface will drop the items and make them lose interactions. Players are falling through the planet when attempting to enter outpost buildings, and ship weapons are sometimes not firing. I would suggest that all of those critical bugs are probably blockers, at least in my opinion, as well. But they may be happening a lot more like intermittently, a lot less regularly than some of those blockers. A big part of that 4.0.2 patch is the new supply or die event. Now, both CIG and myself are actually referring to this as Jumptown for Pyro, and it kind of is, but I saw a fantastic post from PJ on Spectrum giving feedback about the mission, which I want to share. The mission is interesting, but it doesn't feel like Pyro's version of Jumptown. It's more like Xenothreat Phase 1, with so many buy and sell locations and most players mining or salvaging in dead space. The event lacks the focused intensity of Jumptown. The Detatrine missions involve flying planetside, battling Xenothreat, manually loading cargo, and then delivering it to one of many locations. While this resembles Jumptown, there are now 7 depots, creating multiple simultaneous Jumptowns. With so many delivery points and fewer players per Jumptown location, 7 locations for 500 players versus 1 location for 100, the chance of encountering PvP is smaller than in Jumptown without server meshing. Jumptown's success is due to 1 location per shard, 2 turning points, and the appeal of low-risk drug printing. In comparison, Detatrine missions require significant investment for minimal profit, with players needing to check multiple locations for PvP opportunities. To improve the event, I suggest consolidating 1 or 2 stations needing supplies, keeping mining and salvage, but adding more risk, similar to blockade running. For Detatrine, potentially rotate the location every 1000 SCU with a limited fire sale price, encouraging PvP and piracy on the routes to the turn-in station. This would better balance the risk-reward, as the current multiple locations make payouts too high for mining and salvage missions. Finally, I don't think we need hostile NPCs at the depots. Let players create the content. So I don't totally agree with their point of view and balance. That said, I have not played it enough to have much of an opinion. I'm up for NPCs being at these locations. I'm up for NPCs making up a good portion of the content. I do totally understand the focus and density of players actually being thinner, even with server meshing, if you have lots of locations. But maybe that is part of it. So some balance and refinement to these new missions is going to go a long way. And I really liked that feedback because it was very detailed and pretty concise. Great post, great explanation. Known issues though. So there are some known issues with this supply or die event that CIG are trying to iron out as well, beyond just trying to optimize it and improve it and refine it. Commodities can disappear during transfer in freight elevators. Entering the depot's physics grid can result in players and AI losing collision with the buildings and assets. Event rewards are not obtained after completing the event. The reward is currently set to placeholder for PTU. Players can become stuck after riding the elevator down at the depots. I just want to say that this event's going to be replacing the Fight for Pyro event, I believe, once 4.0.2 goes live. I'm expecting 4.0.2 to go live either at the end of this month or the beginning of March. This looks to be how CIG are going to do their monthly patches, and hopefully it will be in a pretty good state. They are trying to fix loads and loads of those persistent bugs that people have been facing, and it looks like they're doing a great job, at least on paper. We'll see how this fares going into live, but I am expecting a significant improvement over the current build. That said, I'm always expecting that, and often I am disappointed. I am really interested to know though, are you playing in 4.0.2 at the moment? What is your experience of that? Are you enjoying it? Have you had a terrible time? Is this significantly better than 4.0.1? And 4.0.1, have you been playing Fight for Pyro? Have you tried the third phase? Have you completed the first two? What faction have you joined? Are you going to be getting yourself a Super Hornet Mark II or that Heartseeker kit for a Mark II? Whatever your thoughts or questions, chuck them in the comments below. Also, reason to comment, you can get yourself a Misc Fortune with lifetime insurance, a game package, and some of those Red Festival skins. Just comment on any of my videos made during February to be in for a chance of winning that. Also, it feels like winning when you get yourself nordvpn.com/BoredGamer. Oh, you want some VPN-y goodness, giving you better accessibility, privacy, and security on your interwebs? I mean, I do. I already have NordVPN, so I don't need another. Maybe I do need. I need more NordVPN. Use the links below to get yourself some NordVPN. Also, maybe something else you want in your future, clicking the join button, becoming a Patreon, stuff like that. That goes a long way to helping the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the verse.